Today in our kitchen, we're gonna make a very simple soup, still packed with nutrition and goodness. And the best part, it's actually high and rich in protein. That's a good news for us ladies, right? Because we always struggle to consume the extra protein. But what if it comes in a soup form and it's packed with all the good nutrients and the vegetables? Basically, comfort in a bowl. That's what we're gonna make today. The soup that we're gonna make today is called the Tuscan Bean Soup. It's an Italian soup. I specialize in Italian, so I said, why not try and showing you a Tuscan bean soup. It's a soup that's made out of chicken broth and with some basic, again, vegetables. Very simple to make, and trust me, it's a hearty soup and the whole family will love it. So let's look at what are the ingredients that are needed to make this soup. We got an onion. I don't think we'll be needing a whole onion, but it's a good big sized white onion. I prefer white onion because it's slightly more milder and sweeter, but you could look at, if you have a red onion, you could use that as well. I have a potato, humble potato. You can use sweet potato if you like. A carrot. I've got some zucchini. Just a little bit of aromatics in terms of garlic, some thyme and basil. I love kale. If there is one vegetable that I have to tell you to include in your diet, would be kale. It's full of antioxidants, full of nutrients, and very, very rich in everything, I have to say. Kale is brilliant. It's a wonderful vegetable to include. You can even eat it raw or even cooked because when you cook, the fibers slightly tend to become more softer, but very, very good vegetable. I'm using cannellini beans in the soup, as the name of the soup is Tuscan Bean Soup. You can use cannellini beans. If you've got kidney beans, pinto beans, any beans are fine. We'll be using a can of that. I also have some tomatoes, whole plum tomatoes in its own juices. Can't make soup without Parmesan cheese. I like to add nutritional yeast in my soup. It's my extra boost of protein and niacin that goes into the soup and also gives this wonderful cheesy flavor. If you're someone who's lactose intolerant and can't have cheese, this is the best substitute for you. Get that cheesy flavor without the cheese. And our very good on chicken broth that we had made, or a bone broth that you have, and some olive oil. So, simple ingredients, let's get started. We're going to start, the first step to make our soup is to get our vegetables ready. The onion, just gonna get the onions ready. Since it's a soup, we're not going to do a fine chop. I think a medium chop is fine of the onions. Okay, got half an onion that's ready. We're gonna peel one carrot. Trim the ends off. If you've got these trimmings, put them in a Ziploc and keep. So next time you're making a bone broth, use it. Okay, like I said, we are not doing fine chop, just chopping for the soup. So, good cubes. Okay, don't need the whole of zucchini. I'm just going to take half of the zucchini. Away, just going to do cubes. Okay, then the potato. Got the garlic. Okay, take your knife, one little hit on it, and then we just chop it up. Now that the vegetables are ready, let's get the soup. I've put a pan on, it's pretty warm already. We're just gonna add in some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil into this. And in goes the garlic first. We just want garlic to release its lovely aroma. Once that's done, we throw in the onions. We're just going to get the saute till the onion gets a little translucent. Now that the onions are looking nice and translucent, I'm going to add the vegetables, which is the carrot, potato, and zucchini. If there are any other vegetables that you like, you could actually add that in. The vegetables have their own nutrients. Each vegetable's got its own minerals and vitamins that it has. So they just add to the more, the more the merrier in general. These are the basic vegetables that I like, so I added them. We're just going to slightly saute till it gets a little color, and post which we'll add the tomato and the stock. I'm using whole peeled tomatoes in here, and I'm not going to chop it or puree it or any of that. I'm just going to throw it in all and then just crush it once it's in the pan. Okay, now that the vegetables have got a little bit of color, like I said, I'm going to throw in the tomatoes. And just break it using my spoon. I like the soup to be more rustic. That's the reason. If you like smoother soups, feel free to puree them. Okay, in goes our chicken stock, about 4 cups. The one thing that I like to add to my Tuscan bean soup or even a minestrone that I make is a leftover Parmesan rind. It's got so much flavors in it you can't imagine. What I do is I just throw that in while the soup's cooking, and the oils are released into the soup, which gives it a very, very wonderful taste. And it's also that you're not just throwing the rind away, you're actually using the rind for its flavor. I'm also going to add in some fresh thyme. I have fresh, I'm just using fresh. If you have dried thyme or oregano or basil, just feel free to throw that in. But just remember that dried herbs are about 2 times more concentrated than fresh ones, so just go light on them when you season your soups, because you don't want it to overpower your soup. I don't season my my bone broth, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to season the soup right now. Some for good luck. What we're going to do right now is we put a lid on and let the vegetables become tender. We're not looking at pureeing them or mashing them. Just when they're tender is when we'll add the remaining ingredients and finish the soup. Let's check if the vegetables are tender. Yeah, almost done. Like I said, I don't want the vegetables to be mushy because we still have to add a few more ingredients into it. What we're going to do right now is add a can of beans. Okay, I like to add the beans with the own liquid, with the brine that is it's in. And if you don't like the little mushy water, you could always strain it. What you could also do as an alternative here is, if you like a creamier soup, you could blend half can of these beans and put that in, and then half full beans. So you get some full beans and some half. The blended bean actually makes the soup more creamier, if that's something that you like. While that's getting hot, what I'm going to quickly do is chop up the kale. This is actually kale from my own garden. I like to grow my vegetables. Do you guys grow your vegetables? Let me know. Just gonna shred it. Okay. People generally ask me, how do you eat raw kale? If you're actually eating raw kale, my tip would be is that once you've cut your kale, or even if it's full, take a little bit of salt in your hand and just massage the leaves. What salt does, like we all know, it removes moisture. So it actually makes the leaves more soft and pliable. You could also just drizzle a bit of olive oil in them and put them in the oven. They make the best kale chips. Of course, they're not as tasty as your potato chips, but they're the healthier version. So if you feel like having a snack but not really want to indulge in something which is not healthy, kale chips would be your go-to snack. Okay, now that the soup is boiling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the kale. Give it a good stir. I'm going to just take in some basil. I'm just going to roughly tear them and put them in the soup. Okay. One ingredient, again, which I like, is nutritional yeast, which I mentioned earlier. Very, very nice. And again, this would be my last boost of protein addition into the soup. Yeah, like maybe a couple of tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and let it all come together to a boil. So you can already look, the soup is colorful, the soup is very, very nutritious and very simple to make. It doesn't take too long. As I said, good food and healthy food doesn't have to be bland or boring. That's the motto. Once the soups come to a boil and our vegetables are actually cooked, we're going to put the flame off and it's time to plate. Now let's plate the soup. I've got a soup plate in here. Just putting in some soup in the center. Make sure you get all the vegetables, the beans, the stock, all the goodness in the bowl. Yeah. Soup's not done yet. We got a couple of stuff that we want to put on top. Some Parmesan cheese. Freshly ground pepper. And a little bit of olive oil on top. If you've got basil oil at home, you could use that as well. But this, here you go, is my simple yet hearty Tuscan bean soup.